Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of the Tuesday show where we talk about NXT. I'm your host, a guy wrapped in Christmas lights, and with me, as always, is Kate.
Kate, it's your NXT post show for December 10th. I am Kate, joined, of course. I'm here next to Guy Wrapped in Christmas Lights. Get in your super chats, get in your humper chats, leave a thumbs up on this video. There's so much happening with the lighting situation with Alex. We're going to talk about it all in a second. But before we do, please leave a thumbs up on this video to help people find us in the algorithm. And please head over to Fightful Select, where there are OMG so many updates on so many things. Ray Phoenix's contract and medical status thing that was all swirling around. The injuries to Jade Cargill was one of them. Contract news. So much happening on FightfulSelect.com. We had some NXT Deadline info as well. If you wanted to know a little bit about Oba Femi before that all took place. Fightful Select had it there for you. So head on over and subscribe. Also, the Fightful Awards are open. Yes. You can join in on the early voting. That is a subscriber based award voting system that we have to keep some of the old riffraff out, if you will. But lots going on there. And also, sponsorship for the Fightful Awards is open. And I'm selling them, baby. So contact me at kate@fightful.com. Over 500,000 followers combined on social media. Tons of exposure there. Over 35,000 combined streams, views last year. So tons of bang for your buck for the Fightful Awards. And I will say they do a classy job over there. They're not quite as decked out as maybe Alex is for the month of December, but they do a good job. They do a good job. So Alex, you are shining brightly over there. And you have a new webcam, which means you're even brighter sans the Christmas lights. But darn it, if we didn't think that the stars of NXT shined brightly at NXT Deadline, I think that might have been their best PLE from front to back, including everything. Like there were some matches that I liked or whatever on other PLEs, maybe more than this one, but like front to back, booking made sense. In-ring showed out. The matches were produced well, even though there were a couple of redundancies here and there.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the thing that was kind of like, I think most people's least favorite and certainly mine was the world title picture, which we're going to talk about what looks like the follow-up to that tonight on here as well. But this was, they're closing out strong on NXT this year, I felt like, with Deadline.
This is they're in a good spot. It remains to be seen how long they'll stay there.
Yes.
They haven't been in a good spot.
You're not gonna fool me, NXT.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But it's I'm pleasantly surprised that they're here and haven't messed it up 2 days later. You know what I mean? Like I thought for sure.
Well, we've seen that too, right? Like we've seen really strong PLEs, kind of, even with nonsensical booking, like some momentum coming out of them, and then the next Tuesday, it's like, what the heck, right? But
people are asking for puns, and I just had an apostrophe. Mystery puns, because we just had a big mystery solved at the end. What a cliffhanger it was. A big mystery solved at the end of this episode. If you missed this episode, I will try not to spoil it until we get to the big ending twist at the end of this. But mystery puns, novels, TV shows,
detective-like things.
Yes, detective-y type stuff, but mysteries I'm thinking of, along the lines of like an Agatha Christie or such things. But yes, mysteries, movies, TV, books, things of that nature. Also, I did. It punctuated everything. So, guys, I do have a new webcam. The other one keeps shorting out. I still have it here in case the frame rate dip on this one becomes intolerable. It's much clearer, as you can see, and much brighter, as you can see.
Even without the Christmas lights, it's much brighter.
Even without the Christmas light, it is much brighter. And it actually does, it does a nice balance to the whole thing if the Christmas lights are out of the way enough. The thing is that we figured out last night is that over the course of an entire podcast, the frame rate corrects itself. So right now it might be a little laggy, but honestly, it's better than it was at the beginning of the show yesterday. So I just feel like this particular webcam's got a lot of ring rust. It's got to knock off.
Yeah,
and then we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? So
it does. And as we discussed, it feels like maybe it's paying homage to the entrance of Fraxium, aka the Blurry Boys, which is their real name.
Right. So
with the lick.
Tim did not super chat this, but it's too good, and this is what you guys are up against: Murder on the Rock and Roll Express. that is the bar that has been set. Okay.
Will you clear it?
Will you clear Murder on the Rock and Roll Express? Because I'm in on it. Okay. Well, I'll save part of this for later. Kitiara says, "Hey SGS, how was NXT? Today's my birthday. Y'all rock.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!" So Kitiara, we're gonna move this down to the jukeboxes because she requested a specific person to sing a happy birthday song. So we're gonna move that to jukeboxes. But we'll do that later.
NXT was pretty good. It's starting to threaten our job security.
Happy birthday.
The happiest of birthdays.
The happiest of birthdays. I'm a little worried for the identity of this particular podcast being able to continue as is.
If they keep being good.
If Oba Femi is the world champion and booked well, 2025 is going to be the year of sweet graps.
Yeah, the sweet sheet.
Whatever else happens, whatever else happens on the show, if the world champion is Oba Femi booked well, I'm not going to have too many substantive complaints.
Yeah,
I may be like, you can get rid of all this stupid backstage crap with, can't we do something better with Carmen Petrovic and Ashanti the Adonis than this? But that storyline wasn't on the show today. So that's a good thing. Maybe they're pulling back on that. But and if the women's division has amazing stuff at the top, listen, if you just did Julia, Steph, Zelta, and that's the only people who sniff the top women's championship after Roxanne goes up. And they just traded amongst themselves, different title shots and everything, and you can keep Sol Ruka, Jada Parker down in the North American division and doing really cool stuff. Honestly, the women's thing, that's sewn up. If you have the talent there, if you don't do stupid booking to make it a lot of fun. Again, big if they don't do stupid booking.
Sure.
But the tag division needs a little glow up.
Yes, for sure.
Once Blurry Boys, of which I am the third honorary member. I am the honorary Blurry Boy.
I don't think they do like the mash when they come out, but I like when you do.
Well, okay, so wait,
there you go. You're running just like them.
They do this, right? Do they do that?
Yeah. There you go.
So it's kind of like that.
It's a trio now, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're in a really good spot with what they've got to offer. You know what I mean? We'll see if that continues. But I don't want to be too optimistic because I haven't been given reason to have that kind of sensation coursing through me. But right now, Alex, I'll be damned if I don't have that sensation tingling in my at the tips of my fingers.
It's we lose either way because either it's not great as a product and we have to watch and review it.
Yep.
Or it is good and all of our whole Star empire is at risk here, Alex. Like it all falls down. So it's we're really handcuffed either way.
Yep. we are. So this is a pun from the deadline because insert clever Nixon Newell pun had to work. So they said America's next top Newell. America's Nixon top Newell. So
insert clever Nixon Newell pun there. Yeah.
Very good. Julia came out to say that she is going to beat Roxanne Perez for the title. And she was interrupted by Roxanne Perez, who says, I do not believe that's going to happen. Which is your standard fare. But when Roxanne's like, you're not on my level. I want her to go back to doing the, you're great. You really are. But I don't think you can beat me.
Yeah.
As opposed to you're not on my level, which is a laughable statement. You know what I mean? Like I always prefer it when the cocky heels at least are in the realm of reality. You know,
Julie's real good.
But,
yeah.
You know,
there's a reason she's presented the way she is, and we all have eyeballs, so we're aware of this fact of how great of a wrestler Julia is. But I'm inclined to agree with you there. I think, man, there's just something so special about Julia. Like she's just, when you look for those things, I always go back to like the unrepeatable thing about you is what you're trying to tap into as a wrestler. Mm-hmm. Julia has whatever that is about her. Right. Like there's nobody quite like her, and it shows up in her entire presence, which is very, very cool. Mm-hmm. The thing with Roxanne too is, like, girl, we saw you get pinned twice very recently. Like that wasn't 8 months ago. Like that was very, very recently. Very recent, yeah. I think it's a little bit. If I'm Julia, I'm like, I don't know, man. I was on one side of things and you got pinned. Yeah. So I feel like if you're gonna be that in a different stratosphere, you need to have the booking support to back up your claim. But I am very excited for this match. Like Julia, Roxanne, if they let it be what it can be, which God knows sometimes they don't, but if they let it be 15 to 20 minutes, Roxanne Perez being the wrestler she is versus Julia, the wrestler that she is, with how clever and nimble and great Roxanne is versus how stiff and like tenacious, I guess, Julia, like in the way that she moves. I sign me up for that 8 days a week, twice on Sundays. So I just hope that, like, one thing that made Deadline so great, Alex, was like we just had definitive and clear endings to things. Yeah. Without a bunch of nonsense. Like, which, if on PLEs of all things, you should have that, right? Because that should be conclusions to stories. But it, like, so much of my complaints with NXT are like, just leave it alone a little bit. Just leave it alone a little bit.
Can you just stop touching it
back?
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, this is what I have to like explain to my daughter. Like, you know, yes, you got a boo-boo. We put a Band-Aid on it. If you keep poking at it, it's not going to get better. You know what I mean? Stop poking at it.
Let it
just
heal.
Leave it alone and let it. It'll heal itself if you just get out of the way. But, you know, it's fine.
You know, Austin in the chat raises a good point. This isn't a super chat either, but Roxanne was basically saying, put some respect.
Yeah.
On my nyam.
Right. So. But she's like, and then Cora, like, if it hadn't been for Cora Jade, I would have beaten you. And then Cora Jade shows up. She's got her signature kendo stick. And
the less effective kendo stick, right?
Yes. The less effective one, because it's taped together by electrical tape, which makes it hurt less.
Yeah, the whole thing with kendo sticks is the splintering when it makes contact with you is more painful. So
yes. So, but she says, If you think your friend Stephanie's going to come back you up, she can't. Because look what we did.
No way! A backstage attack in WWE?
I feel like it's been a while since they've done one of those. Oh no, wait, there were 12
2 days
last week. There were 12 last week. You know what I mean? Like, it's just I feel like maybe let's lay off the backstage attacks.
Yeah, I think all of wrestling, but especially WWE could right now. I'm getting a little bit gassed out on this Death Rider stuff and in AEW with it as well.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, literally Raw, NXT, and SmackDown had them in the same week. Like,
yeah.
When they go to the well, they go to the well hard. They're like, you like special guest referees? Here's 5 of them.
They go to the well so often, the town is going to die of thirst.
I know.
Leave some water in the well, people.
We got Timmy out. It's fine.
So,
Get a Brita, guys, because the well water.
They're going to attack Julia. But she doesn't have anybody to back her up except for Kalani, who decides to do the honors this time because she doesn't like Cora Jade because of the whatever. So yeah, this is fine. You know, like we established, giving Kalani some time to hang out with Julia certainly couldn't hurt Kalani's thing of like, you are an acrobat. Awesome. Could you hit people so it looks like you're trying to hurt them, please?
Yeah.
And that's basically all Julia does. So if she can learn by osmosis, spending as much time with Julia would be a great thing.
That's a very, very good point. Of if there's anybody who can make it look like it hurts when they hit you, yes. Julia in all of wrestling. I'm not just saying NXT women's, I mean all of wrestling is probably, I mean, a top 3 at it. It is, we are fatigued on the backstage attack angle, but they do make sense at least. Like, these are ones where, I mean, Eddie Thorpe's we're going to talk about in a bit, but the alliances make sense, and the tactic of the heel in this case makes sense, and they're the type of heels that would do that. So I'm tired of them, but it is in line with how, if you're going to do it, this is how you execute it. It's fine.
OTM confronts NQCC. NQCC is back there like patting each other on the back of, you guys were so close to winning the tag titles. Hold on. First, before that even takes place, Charlie Dempsey is talking with Lexus King, who just got a new fresh lineup. Somebody needs to talk to this boy about his addiction to the barbershop, because like he's got extra points where there don't need to be points. Like, you don't need to do all that with the beard, you know? I mean, it's so wrong.
If he had joined Double Vest in the Beach, we could have Double Vest in the Beach and the beard. But sadly, that era is gone. They've never crossed paths.
Lexus King with Briggs, so they could just be Double Vest and the beard would be the best. It really would be Double Vest and the beard. But unfortunately, no, you can't let him wear that if you're going to try and, as hard as you are to like not only babyface him, but like just white meat baby. You are that man
baby facing him. Yeah. Like,
that man is coated in Thanksgiving turkey. Like, that is how white meat he is.
He's not just he's an infant face. Like, that's how much of a baby he is. Yes, like, it's just, it's not like, oh, baby face turning toddler. Like, no, we are counting weeks still, not even months.
Stop doing this. Like, man, I did some soul searching in Minneapolis. And I realized that I really do want to be a better man or something. Like, it took you soul searching to get to that point. That's interesting. And I'd really love to have another shot at that Heritage Cup there, Charlie Dempsey. Tatum says, well, I did just give you a title shot. Tell you what, I'll think about it. That's all the king can ask for, he says. You are writing a different character.
He's a different human being. Yeah.
Like, you are writing a character that says things like, hey, that's all the king can ask for. But you're asking him to play it as, that's all the king can ask for. And a person who is trying to be a better guy doesn't do things like referring to himself as the king. Like, we've seen him walk into a room and be like, looks like the king is on a roll. And like, that dude talks like that because he's an irredeemable asshole. This guy is like, all I would like to do is to prove to you, my very best friend in the world, Charlie Dempsey, the one man who's ever taken a chance on me, that I truly am attempting to be a better man. Also, I refer to myself in the third person as the king. Those things don't work together. Oh no, we lost Kate. Kate! Kate, come back! Oh no. Guys, we lost Kate. Hopefully she'll be back eventually. That would be nice if she did. I don't know what button she hit, but sometimes if you hit a button, you leave. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, some other time. We'll figure it out. But anyway, after Lexus King leaves, Charlie hey, she's back. She's back. There you go. Now you're muted. Now you're muted. Why are you muted? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? No. Kate, where have you gone? Come back. Oh man. This isn't good. All right. Oh, now hold on. Wait. They will need to connect their mic cam before you can add them to the screen. Have they connected their mic cam? Now I see you. Talk.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. Thank God. I was so concerned.
Sorry, that was weird and upsetting because I had so many things to say about the king.
Yeah.
I feel like this would work so well if it was an ironic thing. Like I don't think it's trying to be that.
No.
I think they're trying to make him a sincere face with this. But I feel like if he got progressively more babyface and it became aware that it was ironic, I think that could work really well. But you were talking about his beard, and I gotta say, like, that's all very evident, right? That he's in the barbershop, right. But like,
yes,
sometimes there's other parts of you that need tending to, and you need to have the tools at home. You don't want to be going to the barber shop. You don't want the
barber to be tending to certain areas of your body.
No, certainly not. So thank goodness for our friends at Manscaped.
Nobody wants to see your hairy balls, so clean them up. Manscaped.com and the code FIGHTFUL is taking care of you. Maybe you're just looking at yourself and you're going, I'm too far gone, there's nothing I can do. Manscaped's got you covered. And you might say, but Sean, there's just so much. Where do I begin? Manscaped.com and the code FIGHTFUL. That's where you begin. That's where you go. That's what you do to figure out all this. Body wash, body buffers, shampoo, beard oil, beard balm, beard trimmers, beard combs, and then stuff for your nether regions. Ear and nose hair trimmers. What don't they have at manscaped.com when you use that code FIGHTFUL? If you travel too much, you're like, I can't be bothered with that. They got the go bag as well. They got the groin and go bundle. They have everything for you. Don't let yourself go by the wayside. Take control of yourself and your cleanliness. Go to manscaped.com. Use that code FIGHTFUL.
It's so perfect that we were talking about Lexus King there too, because the background music on that one is so way more up his alley than the beep boops.
Not nary a beep, nary a boop in the entirety of that. Nope.
Nary a beep nor a boop.
Nope. But this is so when he finally leaves, Charlie Dempsey turns to blow smoke up the butts of all of his people in his faction. You guys came so close. You lost, but you guys came so close. Ren Sinclair, my goodness, if you had only had one more point, you would have won. Which you could say about everybody else in that match.
Yep.
But,
correct.
But I mean, it was
spent the most time in the penalty box.
I'm glad that he's proud of his cohorts.
I know. It's nice to see people like their friends these days instead of having to wonder if someone's going to turn on them all the time.
Yeah. I did love that. Then OTM just comes up to be like, I told you guys you weren't going to win. And it was like, you should be in Ava's office right now and talking to her and say, hey, we want the next title shot. So if, for example, Nathan Fraser were to come into your office tonight and say, hey, I demand to defend the titles next week, we would like to be first in line. And if you did that, perhaps a random team that has not had a lot of tag team matches recently would not get that shot next week. But instead they would like to walk up on NQCC and start a little deal with them, which I guess is fine because there's 3 of them and there's 3 of the other one because Jada Parker decided to say mean things to Ren Sinclair. So there you go.
I mean, both of them could be on the main roster with how much 2 guys and a girl it is, but
yes.
The thing, I think Ren Sinclair versus Jada will be very good. Jada's like inevitable, so they have to figure out ways to get her to title picture sooner than later. I think she'd be a great contender for Julia when she, I'm assuming, is the one to dethrone Roxanne. But she's on a very hot trajectory right now, and she's one of the standouts from her specific kind of class. It's like her and Ruka kind of running away with it. So I'm excited for this feud, but I also want to make sure like Jada needs to stay on the doing important stuff track.
I wonder whether they will ever fully course correct to what should have been at the beginning of the North American Championship for the women, which is Jada Parker winning it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll ever fully course correct to get back there. Because I mean, Kalani's reign was what it was what not booked great. Kind of they never really put any oomph behind it with storylines or whatever. She lost it to Fallon and the influencer girls, and you can end that in the next 5 minutes for like, I'm so done with just cheating for cheating's sake. I hate it in any facet. I really like Fallon Henley. I think she's a great wrestler. I'd like to see her wrestle. I'd like to see her wrestle rather than just have her
uninterrupted.
Friends do stuff to cost the match for her opponent. So if you're going to let her wrestle, then I would like to see that. If you're not, then you could figure out a way to put that on any baby face you would like, so that Jada Parker can cream that baby face into a fine paste on the canvas, and then Jada Parker can be the champion, and hopefully then you actually have her wrestle a lot and I was about to say win cleanly, but I forgot what show I was watching.
Fair. I do think, I think they are aware that Kalani's reign was not a productive move for that title or for her. And to get it off of her, like putting it on a heel that has as much experience as Fallon Henley does, it makes a lot of sense because she's kind of one of the more veteran women around that brand. However, they were a job squad going into that, so there was nothing like believable about that. And to this day, it doesn't feel like she has credible wins because of all of the interference that we keep getting in her stuff. So I am with you on the, like, are we going to actually make her feel like a real threat at any point? Because if not, this is now the second time with this historic title that you are booting it.
Javon Evans versus Wes Lee was very good.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise to nobody. A little more aggressive, which I liked. A little more aggressive.
It was. I wonder now if they have never been as high on Wes Lee as I assumed they were. Because he has now had 2 matches in a row against Javon Evans and lost them both. The first time was kind of like Rob Van Dam showed up and he got distracted. But the second time he just lost. And like I really like Javon Evans, but I assumed we were getting a 1-on-1 rubber match. That just seems right to me. But like at this point, Wes Lee has no leg to stand on in asking for another match with Javon Evans. I assume they'll get one anyway, but I don't want that. I want them to actually have a reason why you would do a third match. If you lost the first 2, why are you getting a third one? And Wes Lee is very, very good. I honestly, I like the new look. It's an interesting, like the trunks, the shorn hair. It's a different version of him than we've seen. I hope that the fact that he cannot put anybody away with the cardiac kick makes him not use it anymore.
Yes.
For a finisher, and he gets something a little bit more because he's built. He's small, but he's built. I wonder if he can start if to a guy who's taller than him, certainly, but not doesn't weigh a whole lot. But like a guy like Javon Evans, if he could do something like a Northern Lights bomb, a jackhammer type thing, show off some strength because he is solidly built. So I would wonder if they could do some more things like what Ricochet is capable of doing in addition to high flying stuff. He could also do power moves if the guy is small enough. I want to see that from Wes Lee. When he showed up and he had the match they lost with Oba Femi, and it looked like he was obviously turning heel, it did not make sense to me that we were never going to get a one-on-one match between him and Trick Williams. But if Oba Femi wins the title, as he should, in a month, then Wes Lee's never getting a singles match versus Trick Williams. And I just feel like it seemed right there, and they didn't want to do it. So maybe they've never been as high on him as I thought they were.
It's tough because sometimes in NXT, it doesn't feel like booking is an indicator of like who they are most in favor of, but they don't do a lot of clean losses. And this one was pretty clean. So, Wes Lee's great. The other thing is he had so much momentum coming out of that Rascals feud that it felt like, that a title shot would be inevitable because they like to lose upwards sometimes. And it doesn't feel like Wes Lee versus Tony D'Angelo's the way to go. That just feels odd to me.
Well, but not coming off of back-to-back losses to Javon Evans.
Yeah. Unless that's going to be something really long-term. Like someone in the chat, I think, said like a best of 7 or whatever. But you could very easily, because of the wrestler that Oba Femi is, you could get back to Oba Femi Wes Lee if you wanted to. Those vignettes were some of the coolest things we've ever done on this show. So if it has to wait a little bit, I'm okay with that because Oba Femi, I feel like, is tweenerish enough that's fine. But it is weird because it seemed like an inevitable next step. If Oba Femi hadn't come back, I would have thought he would have been the one to win the Iron Survivor. Like I was thinking he was at that point. So the fact that they won't even be doing an intermediate program that way feels a little odd.
It does to me too. Honestly, but this match was excellent. Javon Evans kicked out of the cardiac kick and hit his super awesome tornado splashy deal off. That's what super awesome splashy tornado deal.
That was like, what did we say about the cutter? The huge
the
jumpy cutter, the big jumpy cutter.
Either Yeah, the huge jumpy cutter or the big jumpy cutter. I'm not really sure.
I think it was the big jumpy cutter.
Yeah. But I wonder. This is something that would get me a match I would want to see, and also solve the problem that I have. Is Wes Lee going to Javon Evans and being like, "Hey, I want a rematch. I don't want to do that. I beat you twice. I don't want to do that. Anything.
Why would I? Yeah.
And then Wes Lee picking a fight with Cedric Alexander.
That'd be fun as hell.
Cedric agreeing to fight him, and Wes Lee and Cedric having a match. It's very good. And Cedric loses, but then Wes Lee gets a little extracurricular afterwards, and tries to and really hurts him with some kind of whatever chairs, whatever. And that forces Javon Evans to give him another match. But at that point, Wes Lee's got to beat Javon Evans. Otherwise, it's just like you lost 3 in a row to this guy, and it's kind of then you're buried.
You're cooked. Yeah.
There's stuff.
This kind of goes back to, I feel like, what I say about Raw and SmackDown, but seemingly more so on Raw. Like with Gunther and Damian Priest, it felt like they don't necessarily know how to book someone to look strong without making someone else look weak. And I think they're very high on Javon Evans, so they want him to look strong, but they don't know how to do that without making Wes Lee look weak, except for going to the playbook that we've been rooting for them to go away from, which is interference, right? So that's when it's nice to have this job and not that job. Sucks to be you, creative, and have to figure those things out.
Hank and Tank defeated Bouncy Beef. This was 2 high energy big boy teams.
High energy was unfortunately not in this. I love high energy, but there was no Macaw. Owen Hart was nowhere near this. Coco Beware was not here.
There were no Zubaz pants either.
There were no Zubaz pants.
It's definitely not high energy. So
underrated. Love me some high energy.
So
sometimes I don't even know I'm in little sister mode until you do that with your face.
I mean, it's a yes, I understand that it is a homonym for an old tag team that you really enjoy, but high energy is a common phrase used to describe things.
Alex, what's fun about you is that you share, as my nominal big brother, a trait that my real life big sister has, which is that you both have this ability to roll your eyes without rolling your eyes. And I'm often the one to bring that to life. So. High energy was great. But this was a high energy match as well.
This is just like, they're both big guys, both big boy teams who run around a lot and jump and do things. And this is fine. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they're trying to reset the tag division because it's been dire.
They are, and I thought this maybe was a one-off, but I don't know if it's a one-off for the. I don't know if it's a one-off between these two teams. It might be, but it's definitely not a one-off of the storyline, which is that before they've even actually gelled as a real team, we're threatening to break up Team Bouncy Beef, which is unfortunate because I think that they're both very, very talented and very good together. But one guy appears to be all about sportsmanship and the other guy does not. And again, it's a lesser degree of other things, but this is basically them doing the same story on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT again. With DIY was like one guy about sportsmanship, the other guy not so much, is sick of losing, and then they both turn heel in a title match, secure the title. The New Day on Raw. One guy all about sportsmanship, the other dude not so much, sick of losing, and they have a huge argument about it. And they are not tag team champs yet, but they did kick their injured third member of their team during
they ruined
the
our life.
Special.
They ruined our life in the process.
They ruined our life. So that's it. And this one, One guy, all about sportsmanship. The other guy, not so much, sick of losing, and TBD. We don't know what the end is for this particular thing, but it's the same friggin' story 3 times at the same time.
And honestly, not different enough from what you're doing with the tag team champions. I understand that there's more of like an odd couple dynamic. Today, I was waiting for them to kiss, if we're being so for real. But like, I feel like it's a trope that they go to too much on a regular basis, and now it's one that is plugged in across 3 brands as well. So like, I'm sick of seeing it just in general from the NXT standpoint, but now it's being done across all 3 programs. Though I will say, done very well, I feel like, on all 3 on the first and the second, TBD on NXT, but like New Day is the first thing in a long time where I feel like fans have this like intense emotional reaction, like intense. And DIY won the titles off of it. And there was a legitimate kind of swerve in there. Some people thought that Gargano and Ciampa were breaking up. So done differently, kind of, but yeah, it's the playbook is still thin despite NXT being in a better spot.
Right. So Zelta and Sol Ruka are bonding over being in the thing, and I was like, I mean, I'm cool. I'm just trying to picture, like, is this brief alliance or future tag team? And it's I don't know exactly what this is, but it was not something I had ever thought of as them being friendly with each other. More along the lines of, stop bouncing all over the ring because I could destroy you. You know what I mean? Like that. It feels like this is I mean, Sol Ruka and Zelta having a rivalry would be like if you just watched Spider-Man fight the Hulk over and over again. And to me, that sounds like a grand old time. Can we get those matches? I mean, them being friendly is fine, but I'd rather just see them hate each other for 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, that could be
in order
a lot
to
of
do
fun.
that, they have to like each other for 2 months, and then they will inevitably hate each
break
other.
up. Yeah, there you go.
A fun combination. I think what NXT is sorting through right now in general is influx of incredible women's talent in a division that already had some women's talent cooking. Where do we line people up is like a champagne problem to have, but it is a problem because you have Julia and Steph and Zelta. So where do we put all of these pieces if not immediately with titles is a tricky thing. So if this is their way of incredible incoming talent, rising talent, working together in some aspect, that could be really fun. And I think I can't wait to see Zarya heel, Zelta heel. Like I really feel like she could do we were saying, like, Lady Oba Femi arc. Like there's so much excitement around her and the other 2 incoming women right now in Julia and Steph that I feel like they want to ride that organic wave. But if she turns heel on Sol Ruka, like that could be a moment that we're talking about for a while. Because like she could have 5 Sol Ruka who everybody loves and go on a monster run. So I was just assuming that's how she'd come in. Like that would be a fun establishing run. But if you want to set up an alliance for her to turn against Sol, whew, that could be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, who we haven't seen in a few weeks, showed me like the only reason you guys were even in the match is because you didn't have to qualify against us because we would have beaten you or something. And then Lash says, I know you think you're all that, Zelta, but you know you're no match for Lash Legend. And I was just like, please just let them fight for real. I just want to see Lash Legend completely brought low, because Zelta would destroy her in every possible way. I think that they are doing a lot to prop up Lash Legend, and with that help, she looks great, but she ain't what they're presenting her as, and that I don't think does her any favors in the long term.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I would love it if they never do arcs like this, but an arc for Lash Legend of I'm the best big woman we got here, and I'm gonna beat up everybody, and then getting her ass handed to her by Zelta, which allows her to go, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, and then start something where either she goes on a rampage because she can't deal with being laid low, or she like figures out a way, like a way of wrestling that she like. I can't just rely on I'm strong,
right?
You know what I mean? I'm strong and an athlete and bigger than everybody, so I win. Like, you actually, okay, well, there's some strategy here that I'm not employing. Maybe I'll train with somebody different and try to get better. Like, they never do arcs like that, but NXT is the perfect place for it because you have so many people who are so new to this, and also like people who are lifelong, incredibly gifted athletes for whom everything comes at a degree of easiness. And then on top of that, you train and get better and better. Not saying everybody is like, lazy or whatever, or just coasts, or I'm not saying that. But if you have a level of innate natural ability that other people don't, that's why so many of the very best athletes are terrible coaches, because they can't coach the immediate great athletic ability they were born with. Because like just do what I do. Why aren't you running faster? Why aren't you jumping higher? Just jump higher. You know what I mean? And so because they don't have that within them, because they never had to work at that kind of a thing. So I'm really interested in a storyline somewhere. It doesn't have to be Lash Legend, because it doesn't have to be a woman. It could be a man. Anybody whose whole thing is, I've always been the best at everything, and now I'm not.
Yeah.
And how do I deal with that? That kind of psychological storytelling is something that would be so interesting to me if given to the right person to deal with. I don't know if that's Lash Legend, but I'm kind of aching for that when you have all these former college athletes who are now wrestlers. Because honestly, you can't tell me there's not a whole bunch of them, and they probably aren't even on TV anymore, if they ever were, who walked in thinking this was going to be a piece of cake, and it wasn't. And so there's got to be like a real life story there.
Yeah.
That you could just tell on the screen.
It's tangible. Like, that's something that, God, even in music, right? People who have, naturally great voice but don't learn how to get trained and blow out their vocal cords or whatever, right. Like that kind of thing is rampant. That would have been really fun to do with Kalani, of just like, man, look at the way I move, and it not her just getting leveled by like a Zelta or whoever. That's a really, when I say freshen up the playbook, I mean ideas like that, like arcs like that, because also, I love what you said about like people that you would want to seek to train with and whatever. Like, they have a million of those too. There's so many possibilities. Mm-hmm. The other thing with Jakara and Lash, I feel like Lash has her best appearances have been in tag action because of some of the tandem offense she's able to do with Jakara. And also like Lash Legend as a hot tag. It's almost like Jayne, where you're just like, man, you as a hot tag, you're a sight to see with how strong and how quick you can move. Like, that's just a crazy thing to meet with somebody who's been in the ring for the past 6 minutes, going 90 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden it's like you go from nimble and athletic and just such a different person in Jakara to someone like Lash. It's like, what did I just run into while I'm already winded from being in this match? So when you say like has been kind of propped up by certain things, I feel like that framework is working for her. And I don't know if deviating from that is the best way to go, but that's also, what do they anticipate these wrestlers developing into and how they want to use them, right? Like, maybe they see Lash as a future single star. So will be interesting for sure. her lifting up Zelta Delta Zarya would be awesome. But like Zarya is when it feels like there's a huge disparity between Lash and Zarya, part of that is just because Zarya is one of the very, very best in the world right now. One of the very, very best in the world right now. The way she's F5ing people and spearing people and selling, and her ring psychology, like, man, like, I love Steph and I love Julia, but I'm like, man, out of the big three that just came in, she might be my favorite. Like, so that's how highly I view her. So that gap, just the contrast there is also just because of how damn good Zarya is.
Yeah. Eric Sybil or Sibby says Lash is NXT's version of AW Jade Cargill, which is certainly possible. They haven't put a title on her, but but it does feel like they were protecting her a lot from women who could expose how green she still was for a long time. And then I think that she actually acquitted herself really well with those Statlander matches that she had on the way out. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, but
agreed.
she wasn't being given dance partners who were being allowed to test her. Let's be safe. So like, you know what I mean? So we will see what the future holds for Lash Legend. I do think there's a lot. She has grown so much. I didn't think it was possible for her to improve from where she was to where she is, and also she has so much further she can go.
Yes.
And but she's already surprised me so much. Why can't she keep doing this? Why can't she get better?
What's another year gonna look like, or whatever?
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Which is why I really don't want them to call her and Chikara up too soon. I think that there's if you gave her another year of seasoning and doing stuff down here and having one-on-one singles matches with the top women in NXT, how much better she could be in a year when you do call her up. Well, now, like, I don't want to waste that
main eventer type stuff. Yeah,
I mean, certainly she could be on the level of a Nia Jax women's champion.
Sure,
you know what I mean.
Sure.
Big bruiser, choke slamming. This is the other thing, is like they don't give enough women the choke slam. Like I said that,
they really
I want Nia's finisher to be choke slam, drag you into the corner, then the bonsai drop.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole thing is your finisher. And if you're not going to give Nia the choke slam, they have the Chingona bomb for Raquel, which is similar, but like a straight up goozle lift up choke slam, which is something I believe that Lash could do to almost any of her opponents.
My God.
Like, that would be really impressive.
And with her charisma too, like the way that she would, like, if she could find the hard cam before she delivered it, like there's so much obvious upside with Lash. And to your point, like, all our little, like, a lot of NXT stars are baking, and you don't want to take it out of the oven too soon. You want to let them let them stay in there, let them keep going. So I'm with you on all that. But
they're having a tag team match next week. They're doing that. That's the Lowell show next week. So we'll see.
Not LOL. It's in Lowell, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Right.
That's twice I made you roll your eyes without rolling your eyes.
Yep, that's good. It says there was only two people on the roster that were doing the choke slam, Damian and Tegan, and now I'm sad. Tegan Knox was doing a choke slam? When?
Well, we'll have to ask our friend insert clever Nixon Duel pun, because I feel like they would know.
I don't know, I'm sure.
They're a fan. Unless they're like, I just like the puns that much.
So this is Oba Femi being the best. He's the greatest. And like there's nothing in, like, I had decided about a month ago to not purchase 2K25. Just because, just to save myself the $100 or whatever it is to, like, get all the DLC and all that stuff and not do it. However, if they've got a really good Oba strut in the game, I might just have to buy it for Oba. If they get a really good Oba strut for the entrance of Oba, I might have to. It might just be $100 just for
$100 strut right there. Yeah, that's what that is, baby.
That might be what I do, because it's the best. And him cutting the promo that he's now this is my destiny and I am now the ruler. He says I am the Iron Survivor, and I'm like, that's it. That's how it's pronounced now. Sorry,
that's the name of the match now.
That is the name of the match. That is the title of the person who wins the match. You are the Iron Survivor. It's just the best.
He's and you were on the Oba train before anybody. And now anybody who has eyeballs is like, oh yeah, he's the guy.
We didn't get. I was like, I want to see more of that guy, because that guy might have something really special. But we only got one match, and then he was just gone, and for a long, long time, and then came back for and I was so excited when he was in the breakout tournament, and
he broke out,
and then immediately break out like, oh no, this guy's what I thought he was.
Yeah.
But I was,
because our intro to him was him shot putting a couch.
Shot putting a couch.
Who doesn't want to see more of the guy shot putting a couch?
I mean, if you show me a man shot putting a couch, my reaction is not going to be, I want to see that less. You know what I mean?
Certainly not.
I want to see more of that. Yeah. And then,
also not certainly not I want to see less, and not I've had my quota of seeing somebody shot put a couch. I wasn't like, I'm satisfied, I'm good. No! I need more of a guy who can shot put a couch.
Right. But he's so great. But also, not only is he this generational big man talent in the ring, because I really believe he is. Like, he's doing stuff with his facial expressions and everything that he does that is so interesting to me. In every way, but also as a character who comes out and cuts promos, he's so damn interesting.
Yes,
just the way that his cadence, his confidence, the way that he stands is interesting. He's just, nobody else is doing it like Oba. So
there's instincts that he has that not everybody has. I think
right.
Like there's I hate talking about it too much because I'm such a believer in hard work above everything. And if you're hard work and naturally inclined, you're running away with it.
Right.
But like at the same time, there's certain people you see them and you're just like, that's just the guy. like I hate when people say like the X factor or whatever, because that means that there's something intangible that other human beings can't grasp. But as a precedent, I don't believe in that. But there are some guys that just like have this presence about them. And Oba, like, he's interesting at a promo before he says anything. Like right. he really, and what's crazy is it's not, NXT isn't necessarily super supporting of presentations like his, because they tend to go in this more wackadoo direction a little bit, or like this gimmicky side to things over character. But he's so nuanced as a character, right. And it's been so immediately evident that there's just something. There's something special there. When they took him off TV and put him back on TV, they knew what they were doing with that one. Like they got it right from beginning to present. His booking's been good. Like he's just the man. Oba's the man.
Yeah. I do love, he was like, that brings me to Trick Williams. We have never formally crossed paths, which is just a wonderful way of saying they kept me away from you while you were champion.
I wasn't about to be anywhere near you because we had to get this title reign some juice under it.
But I mean, just the idea of we never formally crossed paths. There was man, I'm never gonna forgive him for this. Like we got to figure out a way to get both of these. When one of them is healthy and the other one is on the main roster, we got to put them on the main roster and have 12 matches against each other. Ilya Dragunov and him had a stare down And they never had any intentions of following through on it. And it is perhaps my greatest dream match right now. That I don't know if we're ever going to get. Not like, hey, it would be kind of cool if no. Like there's things that I think are never going to happen. And there's things that I'm like, we'll get that one day. I know it. But that one is just like, it's just too much that it was right there. It was so within our grasp, and we just never got it. And now, like Ilya screwed up his knee. Those things can be really tricky to recover from.
Yeah,
now, he's a dude who's probably doing one-legged jumping rope right now.
Yeah.
So he's probably fine. He's
with
Ilya
steel plates on his neck and chains and okay. Whatever.
But we still have to have that. But we got a tease of him versus Ilya. But we never put him and Trick Williams in the same frame together.
Yeah.
Not once, not ever. And so I think that was intentional because they were like, we're going to get around to that for sure.
And it's going to be a thing when we do, right? Like it's going to be a thing. Yeah.
It's going to be a thing when we do.
Alex, that moment between him and Dragunov, I saved $500 on groceries because that fed me for so long. Like it's ridiculous how badly I want that match. Here's why I think we're going to get it. I think people know. I feel like Oba Femi, we've talked about this at length, but just for recap, like he and Gunther are kind of being presented in the same, at least right. Gunther before this world title reign.
I know.
And Dragunov and Gunther had such like the moments of all moments. So why not? Why wouldn't you? That's one playbook. I'm okay. That's a play I'm okay with you running more than once. Do that. Just do that again. Just do that again with these guys.
We'll see. They did not appear as though when Oba gets to the main roster, he's going to be a phenomenon. Ilya Dragunov's main roster run before the injury, I would not call a phenomenon. I do not know if his ceiling is two-time U.S. champ, 3-time Intercontinental champ in his career, and he's done. That's very possible. That's the ceiling for him on the main roster, which is insane, by the way, but also certainly very possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Oba, he's just not only is he really this. That's the thing is that I can look at both Oba and Ilya and say they're both incredibly special, like once in a lifetime competitors. And I think they both deserve to be at the absolute pinnacle of what WWE is doing. They will look at them and say, one of them is that. And the other one is a great hand, who's a really good wrestler, who's going to be a mid-card champ a few times. And I don't know why because one of them is smaller than the other one. And that is it. Like, that's a thing we'll have to see. I mean, if you asked me in 2018, 2019, will Pete Dunne be a future world champion? I would have said no, but only because they don't see him that way. If you ask me right now, do I think Ilya Dragunov is a future world champion? I'm going to have to say no, but only because they don't see Pete Dunne that way. So why would they see Ilya Dragunov that way? So like that's my fear is that when Ilya gets back and he's messing around with the IC title maybe, and Oba gets there and skyrockets to WrestleMania main event level, and they never really cross paths because they're never on the same level.
I understand that. I do think there's a little extra presence to Ilya that Pete Dunne doesn't have just because of the guys that they are. Like I don't think Pete Dunne is a lesser character. But I think Ilya and all of his drama is something that plays more in the ecosystem of WWE. But you're right, and that I think when it's Oba's time.
Anyway, so back to this particular promo.
Yes.
When Trick comes out, there is this really cool little stare down moment where they acknowledge, yes, like says, but when Oba says, the only reason there was a whoop that Trick era is because I allowed there to be. I'm like, I don't see I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Yes. Yeah, no lies detected. Like that's the thing is like we were waiting for is there going to be a match between the two of them? And like, no, not unless like you're willing to put Oba over because there's no, like, it's just, he's just got that thing. Like, Trick is, he says, you're a great, later we see Eddy Thorpe say you're a great sports entertainer, which is how you know they're turning him heel, because he's using that pejoratively. But that's the thing with Trick, is that Trick has a certain aura himself, but it is, as a showman, is the way he moves and everything. He's much more of a superstar, but like Oba's got everything else about him. It's just all expansive. So I really enjoyed their interplay back and forth. But when Eddy Thorpe comes out and says, "Oba, you attacked me," and how, like, I'm not going to forget how you cost me my shot or whatever. And Oba says, "Hold on, you're making a lot of wild accusations there. Let me ask you this: did you actually see me attack you?" "No, I was attacked from behind, but only one person hit me with the kind of force that you hit me with. I am done with you. Goodbye." And Eddy Thorpe just gets to hang out in the ring while Oba has the rest of the conversation with Trick about how this is, like, we're having this thing because this is what, when I am done with you, no one will even remember your era. It's over. I'm done. And Eddy, it doesn't read to me, because Oba is who he is, none of it ever reads as false confidence or arrogance.
Correct.
He is simply a prognosticator of the actual truth. He is telling you what is going to happen. He is Oba Stradamus. He knows the future, and he's telling you what is happening. Like, there's something about him where all of anything that might be registered as bluster for another wrestler, just to me reads as Oba telling you how it's gonna be.
Part of it is just his tone. There's something, Samoa Joe has this too, of when you're a big dude and you actively choose to forego bravado, it's the coolest shit in the world. I'm sorry. Yeah. Samoa Joe just, like, using a tone of voice that is right here all the time. And occasionally goes up here, but it's never like, and Oba has that same thing where it's just like, sometimes you come across so much more confident just by talking. And Oba has that, like, with authority, certainly, but like, that combined with an athlete of that size is just like, it's perfect. It's a perfect ingredients. My only thing is, I don't want this to be like a drawn out trilogy. That's the problem. And I don't know if they're going to give us that.
Well, there's somebody asks in Sweet and Sassy Creations asks, so who is going to the main roster in the transfer portal?
Roxanne.
If you get both Roxanne and Trick losing at New Year's Evil, I think that's absolutely on the table. If you get the Blurry Boys finally, like, their miscommunication finally biting them in the ass, we'll talk about that segment, and they lose the titles, absolutely they go up. Like, that's those three acts, I think, like, if they're really gonna lose the titles that they carry, they absolutely go up to the main roster. Like, that's great. I mean, I think that if it were up to me, I would have somehow. So I love these guys, but they're just not being presented in the way they need to be, and I don't think there's any chance they will. I think the War Raiders probably lose to Finn and JD on Monday, and then you bring up the Blurry Boys and have them face Finn and JD in their first match for the titles, and they win them. Boom, brand new, like,
babyface,
fun star, babyface luchador with a cool mask. Like, dude with long hair who sprints through the entire ring and does flying awesome stuff. Kids are going to love him. You'll sell 1 million Axiom masks. They should sell a combination Axiom mask and Nathan Fraser wig in the same package, and brothers everywhere are going to fight over who gets to be who when they're fighting back in the backyard. Like, there'll be a huge sensation for kids. Just, like, book them as these ultimate underdog, like Spider-Man and teaming with the Flash. Like, it's a thing, like, kids would love to see it. It's a guaranteed mint that you could print yourself. And will they do it? I don't know. They usually suck at picking at who to push. So, but it's right there for them to do it. Trick, I think, has a lot of charisma, main roster style charisma that you could easily do on either Raw or SmackDown. I think Roxanne obviously is just waiting in the wings to be another one of the very top women on the main roster. All three
challenger for that mid-card title off the bat, whichever branch she goes to, I think for sure. Those feel like safe bets for the transfer portal. It's tough because I feel like Gigi just got back, but there's people that are gummed up and stuff that should probably be going up. Like Gigi and Jacy have nothing left to prove down here. Fallon Henley barely does, even though she has a title. So it's tough. It's tough because I feel like there are people that are ready to rock and roll, but they just they also have to have places for them to go. We've seen these handoffs get punted so many times.
That's the deal. Like Blair Davenport. If you were to say to me, Blair Davenport going up when she did in May, and let's say Fallon Henley going up now, who do I think has the higher ceiling? It's Blair Davenport. But look what they did with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that I don't like Fallon. I think Fallon's great. I'm really high on B. Priestley, Blair Davenport. I think there's all kinds of stuff she can do. They're not letting her even attempt to be anywhere. They were like, here, you're only going to have matches against Naomi. As it turns out, you don't have a lot of chemistry with her. So we're not going to put you in the match with anybody else. Well, I mean, like, sometimes people don't have instant chemistry together, but I've seen her have great matches with a whole bunch of women in NXT, and you've never had her attempt to face anybody else. So there's other things is that you get, like, we'll call them up and then see what do they do? Nothing. They never do anything. So I guess we will see. You know, like, it's just
we will. I think Roxanne and Trick are pretty safe bets, but Alex,
yeah.
I would put money on it, perhaps, if that was an option. But sadly, there's simply nowhere that you could bet on any type of wrestling in this world. Sad.
I thought I heard about a website that we do business with.
What?
Yeah. Something about an attorney general or...
Okay.
Agriculture?
Do I have to go to my local horse track and place bets?
You do not have to go to an OTB. You don't have to call a bookie. There's I believe it's a place where you can bet online .ag.
I want to talk to you guys about our great partner at BetOnline AG. Yes, the place that lets you bet on pro wrestling. We've gotten our pro wrestling betting odds from them for years, well before we even worked with them. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about them. They got the earliest lines, the fastest payout, the industry best bonuses. They've been trusted for 25 plus years because of their safe and secure environment and their quick payouts. But you can bet on pro wrestling. How cool is that? If you think you know more than anybody, go ahead and look at those odds. It's the same ones you've seen on Fightful for years. You might see one that sticks out to you and you go, wait a second, there's no way that person's going to win. Why are they an underdog? Make yourself some money. BetOnline AG. And hey, it doesn't stop there. Whatever sports you want, they got you covered. Popular games like blackjack and roulette, Supernova, Skyward, all that stuff. BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can at BetOnline AG.
Thank God you were there to clear up that confusion for me.
You know, I do what I can.
Hey, with all the money you're winning at BetOnline AG.
Oh, yeah.
Head on over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe, would ya? My goodness. In addition to all the scoops anybody could ever want. Yeah. You get me and Alex reviewing pay-per-views and PLEs, except for NXT, which we do on the main channel. Right. But anything AEW or main roster WWE, we're back there reviewing it, including our Sands of Blind format, which is literally so popular. It's why people subscribe. No big deal. There's also the Fightful Select Discord, where sometimes when Sean doesn't feel like posting anything on Patreon, he just goes in there. And he's like, I'm just gonna drop some scoops right in this Discord right here. There's an Ask SRS channel, so you get a ton of value for just $5, the best $5. Sean always says in the biz, I'm going to say in all the land, Alex.
Wow.
In all the land. And you can also gift Patreon subs for the holidays. So for the wrestling fan in your life, FightfulSelect.com, $54 for the whole year, $5 a month. Best $5 in the land.
It is in the land.
That's my new thing. I don't know why.
Good.
But we're going with
Jambeard says that Oba's attitude reminds me of comic book version of Kraven the Hunter. He enjoys the hunt, respects the strong, but knows he's top of the food chain.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley?
No.
Oh.
Not Kraven the Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Kraven the Hunter. It's a different thing.
Kramer.
So, I honestly, this is me booking Oba Femi's retirement angle 20 years out. I don't believe there's a man who could beat me.
Mm-hmm.
The next man who can beat me, I will retire. And not like Ric Flair holding on for one last thing, but like
no, not melted candle Ric Flair.
I mean, that he says it, and then nobody can for like 2 straight years, and then finally a man does, and then he shakes that man's hand, leaves his boots in the ring because he's a man of honor. You know what I mean? Like, just he wants to be bested by a better warrior than he, and knows there is no such man. And then one day there is that man. Like that would be just the coolest thing ever.
So I like everything that you said, except for the part where there's another person who can do it. You should just be like, nobody can do it. It's pointless. I'm going to retire. I'm perfect.
Yeah.
I've only had one title reign because I've never lost it.
Yeah. There you go. Jambeard says Oba as a full year NXT champ. Then he wins the Royal Rumble, and no one else should win it. And Oba should break Brock's elimination record and win from number 1.
Yeah.
If for some reason they decide actually the story was that Trick retains. I don't love it, but like if that's the story, then Oba needs to go to the main roster immediately. And by immediately, I mean the Royal Rumble. And he comes in, let's say 12, and lasts to the final 3. And along the way, over half of the men that are available for him to eliminate, he eliminates. You know what I mean? You can't do anything to this man. It's
impossible.
It would be the greatest introduction to the main roster ever. Now, I am fine with that if that is the alternative to him becoming NXT champion, is if he goes to the main roster and is huge and has an amazing match at Mania. Cool. But I still think he's winning this thing and being the NXT champ.
I think so too.
Feeling Dreepy says, kind of disappointed that we will probably never get Oba Femi versus Swerve, or versus Hangman, versus MJF, or versus Lashley, or versus Shelton Benjamin, or Brody King, or Mystico. I could probably keep going forever, but I can't afford the number of chats it would take to get through everyone. Then Luis says, kind of best we did not get Mystico versus Oba, because Mystico would absolutely win, because kayfabe doesn't job to anyone, and it might give Alex a wilder rage than when Darby wins. No, I believe Mystico would take one look at Oba Femi and said, I'm losing to that guy, because he knows what he's looking at. But also, WWE, this is the kind of guy that WWE
will go out of their way to retain.
Should retain.
Yes.
Like, I would like to see him, in AEW, but like, this is the thing of it is I don't want WWE to go under. You know what I mean? I want there to be.
You want it to be good. Yeah.
Belong in AEW should be in AEW. The people that belong in WWE, the very best version of what WWE wants to do is Oba Femi.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agreed entirely.
Charismatic. He's a larger than life character. The promos he cuts, the way he moves, and like if you put a big stiff in the ring, that's not fun. But if you put a guy who can do all of that other stuff, but in the ring, when you actually let him wrestle, he's really good at it. Well, then that's the thing. The spectacle of Oba Femi, the forever champion, being chased by all these other guys. Like, that's the thing. You know what I mean? in 10 years, we should be looking at him as the mountain that everyone must climb on the main roster. He would be a huge success as the top heel champion of the late 2020s. You know what I mean?
I do think, well, if anybody on that list, Oba Femi versus like a tweener Swerve.
Sure.
That would be the one in there.
That would be excellent. You know what I mean? But
I agree with you entirely.
If WWE is going to remain the major company and a company that I continue to cover for a living, then I would love it if their top guy was Oba Femi.
Yeah.
I want that. I want that to be a thing that I watch.
This is just an Oba Femi Stan podcast now, by the way.
It is.
So we can talk about the rest of the show, but we're just mostly
always be so. That is like I don't fanboy over any of the people that I cover, but like a guy I would really love to just shake his hand and be like, well, that's a very large hand, but also be like, but also be like, I really think you're great, and I, like that would be the one guy I would do it. You know what I mean?
The thing was, I pictured the interaction in my head, so it's like it's a very large hand. It's like it went in my head.
Yeah.
Him and Mustafa, I feel like, are your dudes.
Yeah, they are. That guy, I feel like I would be able to level with. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
like 2016, the alternate in the first thing I ever seriously covered professionally was the Cruiserweight Classic. And I remember doing a write-up on this guy who was the alternate, not knowing anything about it, seeing the first match, and then like becoming a huge fan of like that, like detail all of my response to his career. And honestly be able to level with him. And I'm on a real level as a fan. I've never been prouder of a guy that I was a fan of than Mustafa Ali. I would like to be able to say that to him at one point. You know what I mean?
Plus, he is
It's a different thing with because I'd be like, your hand's big. You know what I mean? Like I was
just gonna say, plus he has smaller hands. So
he does have smaller hands. Julia and Kalani are interviewed. Julia calls Cora and Rox filthy bastards in Japanese for attacking Stephanie Fakir. Again, I kind of want them to fake as though Kalani Jordan was a language arts was a languages of the world major in Michigan State, because she speaks Spanish. But I want her to fake like she speaks Japanese. She doesn't have to ever say it, but that she understands it. Like
that's
I'm
fair.
Sorry, I didn't catch that, Julia. And Kalani's like, for her to be like, she says blah 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 blah, and for it to be actually accurate. I think that would be a really cool thing for Kalani, because you have all these people from everywhere coming. She just speaks all the languages.
She speaks all of the languages. I just watching this segment. I was like, finally, a backstage attack. That was my reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one. Here we go. Oba versus Jacob Fatu.
Oh my god.
It's like another guy. Like if Jacob Fatu's going to be in the employ of WWE, build the whole damn company around him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. I want those guys to be the dudes eating up time on the shows that I watch, because they're fantastic. So Fatal Influence has their match against Gigi and Tatum. We see Gigi, Izzy Dame walk up to Tatum and say mean things to her, and then Sean Spears like, no, Izzy. I would hate to see anything bad happen to these two before their match tonight, but Izzy, I couldn't help but notice. Izzy, you're feeling a little lost. Now, if I could just now, what I don't need is you coming to me with any of your creepy stuff. So goodbye. And he's like, playing hard to get. Like it was like so they are doing the thing that I wanted last week, and I'm happy to have been right. It's nice to be right.
You manifested it. Powerful manifester. It's amazing what tent hands can do.
Yeah. So we love you, Kylie. We absolutely love you, and we're happy to send you that message last night. So Fatal Influence beats Tatum Paxley and the Gigi. because blatant interference and the ref being dumb.
I was like, this is the NXT I know.
This is the NXT we have come to know and loathe. But it's all, I guess it's all worth it.
Because who returns?
Because Shotzi's back. Which like
rules.
when was that match that she blew out her knee? That's a quick return, if I'm not mistaken.
February? No, that was a while ago, wasn't it?
February?
Please, can you do everything for us?
Was that 8? It was like 9-10 months? Because honestly, like a full year is customary with an ACL. Like, so
Wasn't it in 2023?
Was it? January. So almost a year.
Okay, yeah.
So, but she's begun a while. She's back. She's wearing a little leg brace on the outside. Like this, she looks good. You know what I mean? This is a cool thing for her to fit. Now, with the transfer portal being opened, they did mention, and again, they're always really bad about being specific with their language, but that all 3 GMs are going to get together and agree to figure out where everybody can go. So she wasn't drafted in the most recent draft. She is technically a free agent. I think Shotzi, like doing a year in NXT and helping out other people, if there's nothing for her to do on the main roster, then Shotzi coming down here, getting a run, Shotzi getting a title match versus Fallon for the NXT North American Championship out of this little feud would be a great thing for her to do. Of the women on the main roster who were not immediately recently called up, ones who could come back to NXT and actually, I think, do a lot of good, Shotzi would be at the top of the list.
Shotzi is an interesting one because if you take like developmental and pay grades out of it, I feel like she's actually, just for the brand wise, like she's a better fit for what NXT is right now. Because of the wrestler that she is and the character that she is. Like I feel like she fits in better with this environment, especially this environment that's like, I've still got obstacles with it, but like the little bit of a corner that it's turning, like it really feels like that would be a good place for her to settle in. Shotzi and Gigi feel like they speak the same language, so them being on the same sides of things is cool.
Gigi could be a really good tag team, like a permanent type tag team if they really start like utilizing the tag. Like we have been given no indication of like how long Jade's going to be out. Or
correct,
like, we're looking for who attacked her, and Bianca is doing her own sleuthing, and what's up with the women's tag team championships? Like are those being vacated? What are we doing with those? If you actually are starting to build a real honest to God tag division, not just here's some people, and like let the people who are in the tag division be presented as a threat to the tag team titles, as opposed to here are 2 single stars who decided to team together because they were friends and no one's going to really take the titles from them. Like, I think that Gigi and Shotzi could fit in really well with that kind of a deal, you know?
I agree. And I would like for those titles, we've said it ad nauseum, but they need to actually float across all 3 brands. Really float. Yeah. Apparently she injured her knee on February 13th. So less than 10 months. Worst Valentine's Day almost ever.
Yes, it really is. So backstage earlier, Axiom and Fraser were talking each other up, being very nice, saying such lovely things to each other that, as you said, I thought they were going to kiss. Like, not kiss, but just like, hey, you know what, man? I love you. You're my tag team partner. But more than that, you're my friend. But more than that, you're my brother. And I want to let you know, without any fear of anybody taking this wrong in the media, I love you, man. You know what I mean? And I wish they had said that. Maybe not a full makeout sesh, but maybe an I love you, man. Maybe it's one of those. But we didn't even get that.
You were so sincere in your delivery. I like that they have crushes on each other. They should.
It's nice, but they were like, because Axiom's saying, I can't believe Oba would do that to you. What, you mean hit you hard in a match you were both in? Like, oh, that's good. Every kiss begins with kayfabe. The idea that the Axiom would say that Oba did something wrong by just
beating his ass
was very funny. I'm not gonna let this stand. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Also, thanks for helping me out with the tag team titles. I gotta pull my weight better. Let's both go talk to Ava at the same time while walking in separate directions. You can't do that. Like, you can say, I'm gonna go talk to Ava. I'm gonna go talk to HBK. But you say we're both gonna go talk to Ava. Like, I guess one of you found her first. Also, Ava, I'm sorry, you told me that Jada Parker was not allowed to wrestle twice in the same show. But yet, Nathan Fraser wrestled twice in the same show on Saturday.
It's so broken. He was so broken.
Breaking his nose. And now you're booking Axiom in a match versus Oba Femi, which will probably break something. And then a tag team defense. Because that's the thing that happens later, is that they both went to Ava, who both booked them in different matches that are happening next week. And again, I don't really want to cast aspersions, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think Ava's really bad at her job. Like, you're the one who booked both of them at the same. You could have booked them on different weeks.
Yeah,
I know for a fact the entire card 2 weeks from now is not all booked up. So just do one next week and one the next week. Ava, what are you doing here?
She did refer to Eddie Thorpe as Edgar online, which pops to be huge. So it's all forgiven as far as I'm concerned. But
I'm Twitter Ava. I have no problems.
Oh, we love Twitter Ava.
NXT TV Ava. I feel like she's
not so great at her job. You know what's sad is kayfabe wise, she's not great at her job, but I still think she's better than Adam Pearce. It goes Nick Aldis, huge gap. Sorry, Ava, Pearce.
So they're very concerned that Axiom may be broken into tiny bits when he has to team with Nathan Fraser against Gallus next week. If it was a different team, I would think for sure Nathan Fraser and Axiom are losing the title next week. However, it's Gallus who just has not had a lot of stuff to do. But it's possible. If you want to bring up Nathan Fraser and Axiom right now, putting the titles on a team you know is just going to be a really great hand and not mess up, you put the title on Gallus, and then you build NQCC as the babyface team to chase them. And even if Gallus has a 6-week title reign, and then you put the titles on NQCC, that makes sense to me. They're also heating up Hank and Tank right now. Hank and Tank could easily be a team that beats. So, like, if it's a transitional thing, I don't mind it being Gallus. I just don't want Gallus to be like a team that is the champion for 4 months.
No, I agree with that. And I think I'm just encouraged by the way that we're starting to see some movement in this tag division because it's been very, very stagnant for a while. So seeing teams get heated up, I think is good. I think it's very possible that they lose it at New Year's Evil and that Tavion Heights, and we can't even really call him Miles E. Riseborough because he's such a star now, but
they're too good now.
He's too good. They ruined the bit, but I think they could tell a story that they work their way back and ultimately give it to them because I think it would be great.
Yeah.
He's one of our own, so we'll call this up. Are you adding more lights for every day of Christmas? I don't think it's more, but it's a new variation every time I'm on air with you. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I think the next time I might just coil them several times around the headset and see if I can make a whole headband out of them.
Before we went live, there was the whole thing, guys. Alex got mad because I was looking at my notes and he was like, "You're missing my incredible physical comedy of putting them on." And then he changed them from that anyway. At one point, they were right over his nose. He looked like Rudolph. It's the whole thing.
So everyone watches. Everyone is in the back locker room area, whatever, watching Ethan Page's sad promo from last week, and Tony D is like, "Oh, Ethan. You're looking like somebody stole your lunch money there, pal. What's up? How you doing? You know what? Tell you what, because the Don's feeling generous tonight, how about a North American title shot? And Ethan's like, with all due respect, Tony, I was the NXT champion while I was there. I carried the show on my back. I am all ego. I turned NXT into NXT. The North American title's beneath me. Okay, then. Who else wants the shot? And everyone in the side, me. And they're like, oh, hold on. I'll take it. I mean, I don't know if it's beneath you and all. I wouldn't want to make you stoop so low as to take it. And so then they do agree to have the match. And it's fine, but Ethan loses. He can't figure out what to do against Tony D's power. And Tony D eventually hits the spine buster and pins him. And he is very frustrated and also has another sad and incredibly well acted promo in the parking lot as he is leaving. That he keeps saying, this is what I honestly love about this. He keeps saying all of the old ego crap that he was saying before, but he doesn't believe it anymore.
Yes.
Which is why this is how you do a completely unjustified babyface turn for a heel. You actually show him having the moments that bring him to that point. I don't even know if they're really doing that. A lot of people think he's just going to the main roster, which he very well may do. But this is all of the work they are doing here. Maybe it's because the promos feel so authentic and all that stuff. Maybe it's because he doesn't have the beard. But this actually is working, and the Lexus King thing is not. We're going to talk about this other whole deal they did with Lexus King in a second that was just ridiculous.
This is not meant to be disparaging to Lexus King at all, because I think he had the best match that we've seen him in last week. But Ethan Page, I think, is just at another level of this than him, which is why it's reading this way. Also, no beard to help, but like he, I loved the interplay between him and Tony D, and I love there's this new thing that's been happening the past few weeks, Alex, where wins and losses are coming into play on storylines that have with the women too, and where stories are being driven by things that are happening in the ring. And it's really, really refreshing because we are also getting clean finishes with those things. Like, other than the women's match that we talked to before, which at least we had Shotzi come back. That's so refreshing to have on the show. This is all that I've ever wanted. But Ethan Page is just, man, I keep comparing him to Kevin Owens because I think it's true of like, you give this guy a couple seconds. That's it. That's all he needs of like, there's just not a wasted word in the ring. There's not a wasted movement or story beat. Like he is really, really, really great at this. He's really, really great at this. And this is another instance where we're seeing someone do better work after they've lost the title, and it's bumming me out because like, all the stuff he was doing with this title, all the weird stuff he was doing with the roll-up angle.
It's again, they don't know how to do anything with their champions.
They cannot.
Unless the champion is Oba Femi. They don't know how to do anything with their champions. And so now he's not a champion. They can actually do some fun stuff with him.
Why are the training wheels on when your champion is just such an odd thing? But I'm loving this version of Ethan Page who's feeling the consequences of what has happened to him since he's lost that title. It's really good stuff. It's really, really good stuff.
Saw in the chat somebody speculating maybe Josh Alexander shows up and they go for the tag titles as opposed to a singles title for Ethan Page. But I just don't feel like that's the optimal use for either of them. I would love, now that's a two-man power trip where one guy's got the North American title and one guy's got the top title. That'd be a fun little deal to do in NXT. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
That would be a really great, fun.
But Oba Femi's going to be the champion forever. So.
Right. Provided that he's not. He will be, but if they're like, no, I'm sorry, he needs to be on the main roster. We're doing that thing. This was just a little farewell to him on his way out. So Trick's going to retain, but then Josh Alexander comes in and ruins Trick, and Ethan then gets a rematch versus Tony D, and then it's the two of them standing tall over everybody. I could honestly see that. Like, this thing about this is I don't book one thing that's an interesting alternative. I'll book 6, 7 things. You know what I mean?
I love that about you.
Yeah. Hey, backstage, Lexus King is talking up Ryan Leaf, who, if you don't know, was the second pick in the 1998 NFL draft behind Peyton Manning. There were people who thought he was going to have a much better career than Peyton Manning. Spoiler alert, he did not have a much better career than Peyton Manning. He crashed out real fast. He had a lot of problems, but he's turned his life around, and now he is a commentator for the Pac-12 games that they have on CW, which is why he's doing the little cross-brand synergy thing. But it is very funny to hear like Lexus King be like, wow, all these things that you did, you're so great. If I could only turn my life around like you turned your life around, oh my goodness, I would pray for that every day. Just wonderful things that I could say. And Ryan Leaf like, man, you're turning your life around too. I can't say enough about all the amazing things that you're doing. Like, the babyface turn of Lexus King is the most fetch that they have ever done in NXT. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Nobody is buying any of this, but they are laying it on so thick. It's just, it doesn't work.
This is the after school special style that they do, which sucks. It really feels like we just have 3 different shows going on at once, a bunch on this show. Like this kind of stuff comes across as very corny, as did like the Ashanti and Carmen stuff, where it feels like it's 3:30 p.m. and I just got home from school and I took my backpack off and this is what I'm sitting down to watch.
Yeah. So Charlie Dempsey comes up and, you know what, I did think about it. And you have been turning your life around, and everybody knows it. Everybody can see it. Even if all the people at home don't buy it, we are being told to tell everyone that you are turning your life around. And so to reward you for turning your life around, I will give you that title shot in 2 weeks. But
like, Alex, turn his life around.
You've got to agree to work out with me next week, and we'll see if you survive a workout with me.
I can't stress enough how much this doesn't work because he was nowhere near the loose cannon. Like, right. Turn your life around from bullying people over EDM music.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that a downfall to be like, I don't like your music, Eddy Thorpe?
Yeah, I don't know. Cora and Roxanne have their main event title match against Kalani and Julia. Cora pins Kalani. Which I guess
is
how
that should go.
This is kind of the best way for that to go, unless you have Julia pin Cora and have that be the revenge thing. But this is the way it was probably going to work out. But then Stephanie shows up to chase off Cora, but she gets a hold of the signature kendo stick and snaps it over her knee like she's Bo Jackson. So that was fine with me. This was all good. And I was like watching this. I was like Julia and Roxanne just throwing big elbows at each other. Like, yeah, this is what I want. Do more. This is a nice little preview of the match we're going to get at New Year's Evil, which is good.
Yeah, they do this a lot too. Use tag matches to set up singles matches, like a lot. They do that. But this was a better one. Everything made sense here. The right person got pinned. We had some fun interactions between Rox and Julia. This is one of the better ones that we've seen because of it. Not a lot to say about it, but it was a good appetizer to the inevitable singles match that we're going to get here.
Yeah. So earlier tonight, after Oba Femi left, having told Trick that he wasn't gonna, he has no chance of beating him or whatever, that Eddy was like, "Hey man, Trick, you're Trick Williams. You're the guy everybody looks up to around here, and you're just gonna let him do this? Like he attacked me, and he's gonna be like, all this stuff." It's like I deserve a title shot against you, but you're just a sports entertainer. You wouldn't ever actually give me a title shot. And Trick Williams was like, okay, Eddy Thorpe, I'll give you your title shot. Sure, let's do this. And then the last scene of the entire, which apparently was cut off for certain people in certain markets because of the CW, which is a major deal to have it cut off here. It's just him signing the contract and then cut for a bunch of people. But he's signing the contract for his match versus Trick Williams next week. And he's like, and Ava's like, I finally get my title match, everything that I've deserved. And Ava's like, by the way, Eddy, we're still looking for the person who attacked you. Oh, I know who attacked me. Excuse me? You're looking at him. And I didn't even have to go through 25 minutes of hell to get my world title shot. And I'm like, I guess it was like 9 months ago. So I guess I can't say it was so recent because, they do stuff at the same time. But like, we just saw Carmelo stage his own attack and then point the finger at a guy who didn't actually attack him. And the thing he said is, I know who attacked me because the way I was hit, there's only one man in my career who's ever hit me like that. It has to be you, Ilya Dragunov. And while Trick was having a talk with the dude he said was going to, they did the exact same scene, but Trick was also in it. Like, it just, whatever. Like, this, honestly, this makes more sense because Thorpe did it to secure himself a title shot he would not have gotten. But this is one of those deals like, my mastermind. I have earned my way into this Survivor match. But I will stage an attack on myself, and then I will do all of these things, and everything will lay out perfectly, and I will be granted a title shot. And I will admit to having done all of this because I have already signed the match, and you cannot tear up the contract. It's legal and binding now. Very fun.
Yeah, you get one of these a year. If you're gonna do 6 concurrent whodunit backstage attacks or whatever, you don't get to play the same ending that you did 9 months ago. I'm sorry, but I like it a little bit here because he's been so ignored that it's like,
right,
for him to go to that extent, I actually kind of like they were ignoring him in the ring earlier. Like they were ignoring him.
I get that part too. I also think that NXT needs to fire their medical team. He was not cleared to wrestle for the Iron Survivor. They were like, "Hey, Eddy, how you feeling? Bad. Okay, I guess he's not cleared. Like, are you checking him for concussion symptoms because he was attacked? He was hit in the back of the head. Is that's what you're checking him for concussion symptoms? And you're holding up 3 fingers, and he lies and says he sees 5. And like, well, he's got a concussion.
That's it.
Like, is that how easy you can fake being injured in wrestling? And they're like, well, I'm sorry, he's not cleared. If that's the case, why haven't every chicken shit heel I've ever seen avoiding matches just lied and said, I'm hurt. Oh, my knee's acting up. I can't wrestle. I guess you can't wrestle.
I do.
Did Eddy put the thermometer on the lamp? I can't go to school today, Mom. I've got a fever.
400-degree fever.
I got a fever, Mom. I can't go to.
Yeah, no, that's it's a convoluted way to go about business.
Ava is really pissed at Eddy Thorpe. Here is honestly how I would do this. I think Eddy should win the match next week through obvious and blatant cheating that is so obvious to everyone except for the referee, and the referee's decision is final. And Ava steps in and says, well, I can't stop you from being champ, but you have to face Oba next week and Trick Williams. And then you could have Oba pin Eddy Thorpe if you want to protect Trick Williams.
Sure.
And Eddy Thorpe is super pissed about all of this, but it would, because Eddy Thorpe doing all of this to get a title match he doesn't even win, and then he's going to be super punished by Ava. you like it like that. So at least if you get punished by Ava, you get punished while you're wearing a title around your waist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ryan Cicchini says, I think it was supposed to be Hikuleo, but with the injuries, he's main roster bound. Or does this push Ava to take control of the locker room? I think this was the plan the whole time when he was attacked in the locker room. I think it was always the plan for him to have attacked himself.
It was always a ruse. I think that ending fits with the
for sure
story that they're telling. So yeah.
The trick thing of the mysterious attacker began in October, and they ended the angle in April. At least the Eddy thing had a quick turnaround, but still quoting T-Pain, Jesus, tap dancing Christ, do something else.
Yeah.
But somebody did attack Trick. When Mello was like, everyone's paying too much attention to Trick for being attacked. I also got attacked, but he attacked himself. That was that one. That was very funny. Luis also says, you've turned your life around. You deserve a title match is the excuse to giving Lexus a title match with an 0-4 record in his last 4 matches. Also true.
Yep.
Jambeard says, the IWC likes to say that Cora and Roxanne are the children of AJ Lee. To me, it feels like Tatum, Gigi, and Shotzi all feel like the children of the late Daphne.
Oh, I'll take that. I like that.
Feels like it could be. We got pleasantries late. So JD Pringle says, Angel, Alex, Tringle, Kate, Papa, Noel, Elizabeth, sisters, Louise, and all the SGS. So merry holidays to all, and bah humbug to HBK. Much love, Sour Tears.
I would say I'll save the bah humbug for a worse episode than this.
Mm-hmm. Tim McFowle says it's around the corner. You know it is. Tim McFowle says your positivity is freaking me out, Alex. I'm not sure I want the show to be good if this is the result. Thankfully, we can trust HBK to screw it up. We can always trust HBK to screw it up.
Yeah, this is temporary. Don't worry.
I've always just wanted wrestling to be better. If wrestling is better, I don't have as many things to complain about. Wrestling will never be perfect, so I'll always have something to complain about. But I want it to be better, and that's why I feel like my the reputation of he hates everything is like I hate things that suck. Too many things suck right now. Less things suck. I'll be less angry. That's my.
This
deal.
is a little Christmas gift from HBK to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
wishing you good health and good cheer.
Which is nice. Meet Norma says, wishing all the SGS sickos a happy Taco Tuesday, and may Gabagool be with us all during the holiday. Now let's crank.
And with your spirit.
Then he says, no puns yet, just saying hi, partner. Well, that's nice for you.
Well, hello.
We had mystery puns because a big mystery was solved that it was Eddy Thorpe who attacked himself.
That's right.
David Pingle says the big mystery is actually Kate's internet.
Tell me about it, bro.
Yep. Chris Pereira says unsolved mysteries. Luis Polito says the obvious ones, Rey Mysterio and Mysterioso. Lieutenant Photo says the Hardy Boys.
Nice.
There you go. MD Macaroni says Scooby Doo drop. I like that one a lot. Chris Pereira says House of Black Mirror. C. Delgado says Agatha Christie Jericho. And Hercules Poirot. Chris Pereira says Indus Sherlock Holmes. Elementary, my dear Sangha. JW Pringle says Degeneration X-Files.
Very good.
Chris Pereira says Mind Hunter Hurst Helmsley and Yellow Jacket Time. Chris Pereira says Nancy Drew McIntyre. Tom LaValle says Miss Kate Fabe herself, the blonde glass onion.
Reddish blonde, but we'll take it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Photo says the 6/19 cents. Chris Pereira says Darkwing Duck Hudson. Chris Pereira says Austin Powers International Title of Mystery.
Very nice.
Chris Pereira says Shutter Island of Relevancy. Electric Mayhem says the Maltese Falcon Arrow. Jambeard says Blue Clue, code suspenseful.
Very good.
Jambeard says, pure fusion detective. Jambeard says, amazing red herring. Orion Ben says, Daphne Blake Murphy, Shaggy Bubba Rogers, Fred Blassie Jones, Velma Zelta Dinkley, Scooby and Scrappy, aka Doo-Doo Team 2000, the Mystery Case Machine, the Scooby Bang Gang. Wow. Meet Norma says Murder Hawk, she wrote. Columbo Dallas.
Pretty good.
Tommaso Crown Affair. Blair Witch Fusion Collective. The Macho Man Prophecies. Wyatt Sixth Sense. Jambeard says Deduce and Domino. Deduce and Domino. Oh, Deuce
really
and Domino,
good.
Man. That is a
really
throwback.
good.
I haven't thought about them in forever. And their girlfriend, Cherry, who was always on roller skates.
There you go.
Teletric Mayhem, send Monk. Not send Hook, send Monk. Justin Holcomb, Death on the Ivy Nile. And Hammer Matlock DDT. Meet Norma says Law and Dark Order. MXM is for murder. The Ultimo Suspects. The Silence of the Get These Lambs.
You got some rules.
Tom LaValle says murder on the Oba Femi Express.
Very.
That is the thing that happens to everybody he wrestles.
That is true. That should be his
Electric
finish.
Mayhem says murder on the Rock and Roll Express. Who Framed Rocky Romero? Vertipentico? Not Vertigo, but Vertipentico. Colonel Mortos in the Study with the Rawr. Meet Norma says, dude, where's my Jade Cargill? Johnny Hungy Games, Mocking Jay White. Finding Miro. Penta El Cerro Murders in the Building.
That's really good.
Cerro Murders in the Building. Fargo Takagi. And Luis Polito says, hey, look at Fred Jones over here. Kaz probably says that.
Luis, you don't have to send in money.
That's nice. I like it anyway. Jambeard says, I have a pick for your movie reviews, Santa Jaws. Are there wrestlers in it? Santa Jaws sounds like it right up my alley. Are there wrestlers who are in the movie?
Jaws probably made an appearance on Raw at some point.
Okay. No more sent in. We're already going to go over 2 hours here.
We are. We're going to
no
get
more.
in trouble.
We're done. We're done.
Cut off.
Okay. Cut off. Okay. William Regal to sing the Pink Pony Club, the Bardcore medieval style cover. I don't know anything about that kind of cover, but I will sing Pink Pony Club. I know you wanted me to stay, but I can't ignore the crazy visions of me in LA. And I heard there's a special place where boys and girls can be queens every single day. I'm having wicked dreams of leaving Tennessee, sunshine. Here, Santa Monica, I swear it's calling me. Won't make my mama proud. It's gonna cause a scene. She sees her baby girl. I know she's gonna scream. God, what have you done? You're a pink pony girl, and you dance at the club. Oh, mama, I'm just having fun. On the stage in my heels, it's where I belong, down at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club. I miss you. Okay. Kitty R says, hey, SGS, how was NXT? It's my birthday. Can I get a birthday song from the Linder? You say it's your birthday. It's my birthday too. Not really. Not really. I'm a Taurus, of course. Or a Libra, a Leo. What do I strike you as?
Oh, you're giving Taurus. You're giving Taurus for sure. Yeah.
Yes,
because you're stubborn like the bull.
I forget what day I was born because it was so long ago.
Linder.
You say it's your birthday. It's my birthday too, yeah. That was a little Beatles for you. Happy birthday to you, Kitty-Aura. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Kitty-Aura. Happy birthday to you, and many more. Jim Beard. Okay, hold on. Just Ricardo says Death Writer's Note.
That's very good.
Jim Beard says, I want Pop Popolowski to sing I'm a Nut by Roger Miller. I'm a nut. I'm a nut. My life don't ever get in a rut. Woot, 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 woot. The head on my shoulders is sort of loose, and I ain't got the sense God gave a goose. Lord, I ain't crazy, but I'm a nut. Is it wetter underwater if you're there when it rains? Is it shorter to New York than it is by a plane? Between myself and I wonder, who's the dumber? Is it hotter down south than it is in the summer? Beedly ba, beedly ba, beedly beepa dee ba ba ba, beedly ba ba, beedly ba bum. I'm a nut. My left don't ever get in the rut. Beedly ba, beedly bo. There, head on my shoulders is sort of loose, and I ain't got the sense that God gave a goose. Lord, I ain't crazy, but I'm a nut. Thank you.
You are certainly that.
No, Jim Beard. We said no more. We said no more.
We're way over, guys.
That's for next week. Luis, save that for next week. We're not doing that. We said no more, and they sent more. Okay.
Thank you for your money. We'll do it next week.
Thank you for your money. You will see the thing next week. Okay. So, Jim Beard wants, hold on. Jim Beard wants Dusty Rose to sing Tomorrow by the Kingston Trio. It's me, baby. I'm here. Hold on.
I feel like it should be Eddie Kingston and Dusty and one other person if it's the Kingston Trio.
Or Kofi, you would assume. It would be Eddie Kingston and Kofi Kingston and another man named Kingston.
That's a very fair point. Or someone from Kingston, New York.
I started on a journey about a year ago to a little town called Morrow in the state of Ohio. I've never been much of a traveler, and I really didn't know that Morrow was the hardest place I'd ever try to go. So I went down to the station for my ticket and applied for tips regarding Morrow, not expecting to be guided. I said, my friend, I'd like to go to Morrow and return no later than tomorrow, for I have a time to burn. He said to me, now let me see if I have heard you right. You'd like to go tomorrow and return tomorrow night. You should have gone tomorrow yesterday and back today, for the train that goes tomorrow is a mile upon its way. If you had gone tomorrow yesterday, now you don't see. You could have gone tomorrow and returned today at 3. For the train today, tomorrow, if you will, and the schedule is right, today it goes tomorrow and returns tomorrow night. Said I, my friend, it seems to me you're talking through your hat. There is a town named Morrow on the line now. Tell me that. There is, said he. But take from me a quiet little trip to go from here tomorrow is a 14-hour trip. This is a long-ass song here. That's it.
It's got a little like Who's on First vibe to it.
There's a whole lot of Who's on First here. Whole lot of it. Just a whole lot. Jim Beard also sends in a different one, but for a different person. Hold on. Hello. Oh, it's a new camera. I've got a new camera. I've never seen my hair in such stark reality. It's almost like it's in high definition.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you. Ricky Rainbow to sing Mystery by Hugh Laurie. I did not realize that the star of House was also a singer.
He is.
Mystery. All my life has been a mystery. You and I were never meant to be. It's why I call my love for you a mystery. Different country. You and I have always lived in a different country, and I know that airline tickets don't grow on a tree. So what I kept us apart is plain for me to see. That much at least is not really a mystery. Estuary. I live in a houseboat on an estuary, which is handy for my work with the Thames Water Authority, but I know you would have found it insanitary. Taking a violent dislike to me, I'd be foolish to ignore the possibility you might have hated me. Still, that's not the only problem that I can see. Dead since 1973. You've been dead now. Wait a minute, let me see. 15 years come next January. As a human being, you are history. So why do I still long for you? Why is my love so strong for you? Why did I write this song for you? I guess it's just a mystery.
Sounds mysterious.
Thank you. Hold on. Now, this one is a difficult one. I can't do this one. This one is, see, Lieutenant Photo wants the Ghost of Dusty and Scripts to duet Mysterious Ways by U2. Now, that's not possible, really, because there's no way to quickly shift between little circles that have things here. That's not possible. So
you can't both hack the internet at the same time, is what you're saying.
No, there's only one person that can hack at a time. So hold on. What we're gonna do here is I'm gonna go ahead and do a verse, a pre-chorus, and then the chorus, and then we'll have Jacy come in here and do the rest. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. It not really can't jump back and forth like the last time. Here we go. Johnny, take a walk with your sister the moon. Let a pale light in to fill up your room. You've been living underground, eating from a can. You've been running away from what you don't understand, love. She's slippy. You're sliding down. She'll be there when you hit the ground. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. She moves in mysterious ways, baby. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. She moves in mysterious ways. Oh. It's me, Scripps. I'm here. It took
Scripps.
a while. It was kind of clunky, but here we go. Johnny, take a dive with your sister in the rain, or let her talk about the things you can't explain, Monsoon. Touches to heal, to hurries to steal. If you want to kiss the sky, McMahon, better learn how to kneel on your knees, boy. She's the wave. She turns the tide. She sees the man inside the child. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. She moves in mysterious ways. Oh, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. She moves in mysterious ways. Yeah. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Lift up my days. Light up my nights. Oh. Catch me this Saturday doing commentary for the Saturday night's main event. I got my plug in.
I love that.
That's it. That's the whole thing. That's all we're doing.
But we do have this chat that says, thanks for the fun night. I really needed it after a rough day. You two are the best. You're the best. That's why we do this, is because of you awesome people. And I'm sorry you had a rough day, but I hope your week gets better. And I'm glad that we were able to make it a little bit better. But I have to call an audible, even though we're way out of time. But I don't think we'll get in trouble for this one, because I'm going to need to call Ricky Rainbow back into the room, because it is the Cease's birthday. Just found that out. Just realized, because it's now the day. It's now time. So even though they're not in the chat, I think it's only appropriate that I will clip and send them you singing Taylor Swift 22, but changing the words to be, are they 25, 26? 20, just, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 20 something. I think it's the way to go on that. Ricky, with the Christmas lights.
Hold on. What am I being asked to do?
I think it would be appropriate that you sing a Taylor Swift song for the Cease's birthday.
Oh.
Right.
Probably happy birthday to the Ceases.
Yeah, they're your biggest fans.
Right. So here we go. Taylor Swift 22, but instead I'm supposed to say 20 something.
Yeah, I can't remember the year. I think I know it, but I'm not positive. So just say 20 something.
All right. It feels like a perfect night to dress up like hipsters and make fun of our exes. It feels like a perfect night for breakfast at midnight to fall in love with strangers.
Yeah, we're happy, free, confused, and lonely at the same time. It's miserable and magical. Oh, yeah. Tonight's the night when we forget about the deadlines. It's time. Oh. I don't know about yumthing, but I'm feeling 20-something. Everything will be all right if you keep me next to you. You don't know about me, but I bet you want to. Everything will be all right if we just keep dancing like we're 20-something. 20-something.
That was beautiful. Really kept the rhyme scheme intact there.
Well, I mean, the integrity of the song would be lost entirely if we didn't keep the rhyme scheme intact.
No, it's perfect. It was beautiful, but thank you.
Happy birthday to deceases.
Happy birthday to the Ceases.
So I'm sorry it took me a long time to get back. I dropped me hair behind the desk. So
are you telling me all this time it's been a wig?
Well, yeah. I mean, come on.
I thought you just had a very long process at the salon.
No, so I dropped my hair behind the desk, and it was really hard to retrieve. So that it was not the best time to be it. So, but I did it. So here we are. So anyway, keep cool, gabagoos, and happy birthday to deceases.
Happy birthday, Cease Twins.